Ebbaluwa gye mwalabye oba gye mwafunye gy'ombuuzaako yawandiikiddwa Minister wa Education and Sports ate ye First Lady w'eggwanga lino nga yakulembera education ne sports mu ggwanga ng'awandiikira National Council of Sports era awandiikidde nze nga Chairman National Council of Sports ng'aba regulator ba emizannyo mu ggwanga nga waliwo byalambulwa mu bbaluwa eyo nga byetaagibwa okukolebwako eyo directive number ya Mama Janet Museveni. Nyakusooka okwogera ku kino nti Maama awadde eno issue ya Netball obudde bungi nnyo n'atuuza enkiiko bbiri gagadde nga zirimu buli muntu yenna yeekuusibwako ku ekyo. Olukiiko lwasembayo mu State House era yali Idi omuntu okusaba nti ku Idi katugifiise tubeere wano nga tutanya ku nsonga zino lwali mu ffe National Council of Sports, Minister for Sport Honorable Peter Ogwang, olukiiko lwalimu Attorney General w'eggwanga lino lya Uganda, olukiiko lwalimu Auditor General w'eggwanga, lwalimu Deputy IGG w'eggwanga lino, lwalimu babiri ennyini, lwalimu Brigadier Byekwaso n'abalala bonna Confederation eyalutuuza n'alukyeringa yali maama waffe w'eggwanga lino. N'awuliriza ensonga era olukiiko waliwo olulala lwali lwabaako mu State House n'agezaako okuwabula ekisookera ddala nga minisita, ekyokubiri n'agezaako okuwabula nga maama waffe w'eggwanga. Era ensonga ezimu bw'oli oziwulirako ng'olabira ddala ng'agamba bannanga ne World Cup batugiveeko, n'agamba bannanga abaana baffe balina okugendako mu World Cup. Naye n'agezaako okusaako embeera eyamba omuzannyo gwa netball nga bino bya investigation bwawunzika emirimu gyabwe gye bakola. Kati okuvaayo n'awandiika bw'ati era olaba ensonga z'alambulula alinga alaga nti okuwabula okumu kwembadde empa waliwo omuntu omu oba omulala abadde tagabigenderako. So ffe ebbaluwa yazze tugenda kutuula nga National Council of Sports, tulina obukiiko bwaffe, tulina technical na council yennyini, tujja kuyita mitendera gye tuyitamu okulaba nti twogera ne federation nevaayo tuyita okushowinga cause gy'okwenyonyeramu ku kimu oba kirala n'okulaba bwe batuuse mu nsonga ze baddemu n'obuzibu. Tomanya oyinza okusanga jjo oba ddi waliwo ekikyuseemu, then tuveeyo tujja kuwa guidance nga era tujja kuwandiikira buli omu mu federation, tujja kuwandiikira Brigadier Byekwaso, tujja kuwandiikira Honorable babiri, tujja kuwandiikira ba trustees oba bayita ba trustees bonna tubalage decision yonna ejja kuba gye tutuuseeko. So nsaba aba Netball Federation ekisookera ddala okubeera abakakkamu kumanya nti council nga tutunula nnyo mu muzannyo ffe byaffe, era nze ng'omu nga omukulembeze mu by'emizannyo ngamba nti teri muntu asinga omuzannyo, kubanga gavumenti okuinvestinga mu mizannyo ino oba kuteesa ssente mu mizannyo eba teziwa muntu sekinnoomu nti nze ndi president oba ndi secretary, eba eziwa abacitizen baayo oba bannansi baayo abali mu muzannyo ogwo. So ffe twagala okukulembeza nga gavumenti kulaba nti tuyamba emizannyo gyaffe okukulaakulana. Gavumenti evuddeyo mu economy nga mugiraba negamba nti tulina okukola projects ennene nga zino gy'owulira y'erugogo. Ezo projects ekuba project nnene nnyo ku mizannyo egimu gye tutunuulira kuyamba tuba tugamba tetusobola tulina we tuzanyira netball ku mpaka za Africa aba z'ensi yonna. Kakati gavumenti evudde eyagala twakusa ssente enkumu mu kuzimba indoor stadium egaggadde nga gye twagala kuzimba wano. Kati oyinza kugamba nti omuzannyo gusigale nga gutambula ddagalaale, tulina okulaba nti omuzannyo tuguyamba nagwo ne baddamu ne beetereeza okulaba nti gavumenti byetunuulira ebya accountability ebyaki byonna bikolebwa bulungi ne tufuna n'obukulembeze bwabwe ne bukwata mu ngeri ennungamu eyamba okukulaakulanya omuzannyo ogwo. So njagala kubasaba mulindeko mu wiiki ezitali zaawala mujja kuba mufunye decision esembayo, era aba netball tujja bayita wano, bajja kujja bonna wano, bajja kwenyonyolako okugezaako okutulaga ku bye bakozeeko ogezaako okutereeza omuzannyo gwabwe gwa netball mu ggwanga wano. Mu kuwabula ekyo tuyagamba nti ave mu office oba tava mu office, ekyo ogolinga ayagala kugenda ku endi ate nga tunatuukako twagala basooke bajja kujja wano ku kanso tusooke twogere mu nabo tutegeere ki ekigenda mu maaso kati gye bali, tulambulule ensonga ezikyali ezekuusibwako ezinamu awali embaliga nga nkyogere bwe ntyo, tulabe oba waliwo bye batereezezza. Tomanye wawa oyinza okusanga weewaawo nga waliwo bye ebikyuseemu, naye decision yonna oba kye tunatuukako kyonna tujja kulaba nti buli omu yenna akwatibwako mu netball tujja mutegeeza ku decision evuddeyo okuva mu National Council of Sports. Naye ekirala nyagala kumanya nti buli omu amanye nti federation zino zirina constitution yaazo. Federation oyinza okusalawo okukola by'oyagala, naye gavumenti yo kyecontrolling okusinga ye relationship oba enkwataganya nayo nga federation ne gavumenti. Oyinza okutuula mu famire yo n'ogamba ewaffe tulwana tukola ki tukola bye twagala, naye bw'oba okufuuka wa mukwano ne famire endala ne muteekako ekiwandiiko kigamba nti bw'oba kusayininga nti oli mukwano gwaffe, nti yali agamba nti ffe abalwana abakola ki abata respecting amateeka tetujja kukolagana nabo. Kaakati gwe bw'osigala ng'olwana eri toyinza kugamba nti ate sigale ne mukwano gwo. So ffe kye tusobola okukola kugamba nti sigala mu famire yo ng'okola by'oyagala mpaka ng'osuza okwetereeza. Omala okwetereeza oba osobola okujja ate n'ovaayo mu kiri ky'obaddemu n'otandikako enkolagana ennungi, ate ffe kye tusuubira nti yejja kuyamba netball yaffe okugenda ne ku level endala n'okubeera abachampiyoni b'ensi yonna era n'okulaba nti tubenefitinga abannayuganda baffe wano. Kyensuubira kiri kimu, nze kyensuubira nti netball ng'erabye ebbaluwa eyo ejja kwetereeza. Kyensuubira tetwagala bya kubanga ffe tuliwo esente olwedde tuzirina mu budget, era simanyi oba twazibwa wadde n'ozibawa za kkooti. Kye tuliko okulaba nti tukulaakulanya omuzannyo gwa netball. Kati saagala bo beeremese okukola ki okwekulaakulanya mu neeyisa yaabwe nga bwe nkugamba ekya famire nti bo bennyini be bavaako ekyo kye tutuuseeko kino, kubanga bino bye twogerako byonna byatandikirawa mu nyumba yaabwe. Ebya accountability twabawa ssente ebitanga mu nyumba yaabwe, ebya governance bino bataddeko court order bataddeko ani byonna nabisanga wano nga byatandikirawa ewaabwe. So ebyo twagala beeterere, bwe beetereeza tetulina buzibu, naye directive wagirabye eri clear nga bwe kyogerebwa. So naffe tetujja kwetooloola tuti bweba tebeeterezeza tetulina kyakukola, kubanga time yonna eno eyise era tuyise mu bino, kuba kino nga tetunagenda ne mu Commonwealth omwaka ogwaggwa era twali bino byonna byali bigenda mu maaso, netugamba katulindeko, netugenda World Cup ate katulindeko, ate so wabaawo enkomyo ogamba nti ki kati kikomye leero oba kikoleki. So njagala nsaba Netball Federation kati wano njogera mu federation yonna ba delegates General Assembly nti beetereze balabe nti omuzannyo gwa netball tebagusuulirira ne tutuuka kubawa decision eyinza okuba enkambwe ennyo. Bino birudde nga bibeerawo, kyaliwo mu kickboxing wano ne bajja wano bagamba era nabisanga nayingira wano nga bamaze obagoba nga bagamba nti mwetereze ne basigala nga balwana. Kaakati bali wano bakonkona baagala kuddamu okubeera adimi okuyingira mu kanso naye nga wakyaliwo ebingi ebikyabalemye okukola kyekutereeza. Naye bw'oba weetereza nga federation teri nsonga lwaki gavumenti yandibadde evaayo neeyogera nti tuyinza okukola bwe kiti ng'ebbaluwa nga bweri nga bwagirabye. Now we received the letter that you must have seen yourselves. It has been trending on social media from the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, our mama, the First Lady of this country. She is the one who oversees all sport in the country and education. The letter was very clear on the issues that are being raised. I want to say one or two things. Number one, I want to highlight that the First Lady has been very, very committed to ensuring that the Netball Federation can stabilize. She has chaired 2 big meetings. The last meeting that we had was even on a public holiday, and she says we cannot wait because we had the World Cup was beckoning. It was 2 months away, and it was an Eid. We sat, and every other person that you think would make sense for this kind of meeting was there. Ourselves were there as council because we're the regulators. Our Minister of State for Sport was there. The Federation of Netball was there, and some players and trustees. But most importantly, we had the Auditor General of this country. We had the Attorney General of this country. We had the Deputy IGG of this country. And the meeting was chaired by Mama herself as the Minister of Education and Sport. And she tried her best to try and bring sanity to the Netball Federation amidst all the challenges that were highlighted. In that meeting, it was she even had to really work hard to make sure that we still send a team to the World Cup, because the evidence that was being tendered in, the confessions of athletes and all, were alluding to issues of mismanagement of the game. And she tried to guide as a mother of this country, but also as a minister of sport, and tried to put a framework or advise us into a framework in which government can continue to help the sport of netball as she waits for guidance from the other entities, but also studies the situation. So that's when the issue of Madame Brigadier Biekwaso coming into office as the acting president of Netball Federation came out as one of the resolutions of the meeting. And Honorable Babidi consented to it. Now, for people to backtrack on some of those commitments, it is unfortunate, because sometimes you have to exercise a bit of patience and wisdom, So I thought, actually, what I had hoped was that we were going to get to a good end after all these investigations, and we continue to work with netball without any mishaps. But the letter is clear on the challenges that followed after. The first letter was clear on what has happened, and most of you in the public know this information because there were some press conferences held, there was a lot of drama happening at the netball, federation, police coming in and all that to restore sanity. Now, the minister has directed. She's our minister. She has directed us as National Council of Sports, and we must act, and we are going to act. So we are going to go through the processes of National Council of Sports. We have the committee, the technical committee, which looks into these matters. We are going to sit as council. So we are going to go through 1 or 2 statutory mandated meetings to dispose of this matter. At the end of this meeting, and also engagement, we are going to call on netball they will be given a chance to come and a bit of a fair hearing to understand what's happening. Maybe some things have changed. And actually, they can even change things overnight. They can sit as a fraternity and say, we see what is happening, what is coming to us, let's organize ourselves. By the time they come to us in a week's time or so, because we should be writing very, very soon. So by the time they come to us, they have organized themselves. And then we'll be able to listen and see if, that's why the Mama's letter is saying if nothing has changed, ideally, there's a window, So I want to urge the Netball fraternity to get themselves organized, think about the sport first. When government gives money to sport, it's not giving it to an individual. It's giving it for the benefit of the Ugandans that are enjoying that sport. And also for its own national interest, that the flag of the country is going to be raised high, not that the dirty linens are going to be raised high. So we expect stability in most of these federations. They are governed by their own constitutions, but when they choose to work with the National Council of Sports, and for us to recognize them as the body, the private bodies that are in charge of that sport, we have some bit of ground rules. We have a statutory instrument. It is clear on how you have to relate with government. So as such, you cannot relate with government and continue doing things anyhow your way and think that that relationship will stay there. So what we might not do as government is to come to your house and close it, but we can close the relationship that we have with you. So that has to be very, very clear. And we can open a relationship for anyone else, any other organization that we deem fit, that is promoting that kind of sport. Because most times when a federation is recognized, and you have seen this, we had issues of FUFA 1 and FUFA 2, and finally government came out and said, for us the body that we know will promote football is this one. So once you're chosen, then you don't take government for granted, and you don't hold it at a ransom. That since they have recognized me, I can do things anyhow. I led the federation in this country. I know the relationship I fought to keep with government, and I respect government. And that's how you grow sport. So all these leaders of sport, we are telling them, you have to know your place as a leader of sport, and to know that the cardinal job that you have as a leader of sport is to grow sport, is not to grow yourself, is not to disenfranchise sport, is not to do things that are out of line, is to be able to make sure that Ugandans enjoy that sport and you grow it all over the country. And the law is clear on what is going to be the requirements, even for the federations that we already have. We are talking about now netball. But all these federations have to be readmitted under the new law. They have to apply and be readmitted. We have talked about quotas. For a federation, 75% of the district of coverage, 50% for associations. So if you want to do amateur sport, you should be in 50% of the district. If you want to do professional, that means amateur and professional, you have to be in 75%. The reason behind it is that since you are saying you are credible enough to run this sport, you should have enough coverage that tells us that all Ugandans are being given an equal chance or a fair chance at participating in this game, that you're able to tap talents from all over the country. So the ground rules have changed a little bit with the new law, but most importantly, if you do what the SI says you're supposed to do, I think relating with government would be the easiest thing. The only thing, keep your house in order, keep growing sport, and government will keep on giving the support, because the support is not for you, it's for the people of Uganda. These investigations have been going on for years, not since July. You might know July because that's when some other government arms swung into action. But by the time I came to National Council of Sports, there were already issues that were being handled by the technical committee. And that came out of the full council and a delegated technical committee. And there's been a back and forth on trying to help things. When we couldn't resolve on these issues, that's when I wrote an appeal to the minister and said, this is the far we've gone, and we think the direction that this is pointing to is this. But now we have World Cup ahead of us. We have this, so advise us, because that's we have to play the card that we have by law. And the card is to withdraw the certificate. And she said, okay, now as the mother of the nation and as the minister, let me also try to do as much as I can to ensure sanity. And she has tried. So by the time she writes such a letter, it's with a lot of pain that she comes to some of these decisions. And it's because of the, I think, adamance of some people that they don't want to yield to good advice. So where we are, we cannot control the other arms of government. They will do their investigations until they are very comfortable. We are waiting on, there's also a report by Public Accounts Committee, which I think the investigations were concluded. They should have a report. We are waiting for, I think Mama is waiting on the other bodies that she had sanctioned to get her, information and give her guidance. So that is within their control. We cannot follow that. For us, we have to work with the information we have now and manage sport with what we have as of now. Yes, I cannot say much about our fate. The letter of the First Lady of this country, interestingly, if you notice, she copied in World Netball and African Netball. And it was intentional. It was intentional. Because even then, what has been ongoing, we informed them. They actually came here. John Smith came here. We had a whole meeting. I was out of the country, but I was online. The minister was there physical, and other people had met with her. And we've been trying to work with them because we know sometimes challenges. And you see, interestingly, netball is dominated by the female gender. Sometimes, you don't want people to think you're not, giving a fair hearing and all. We've tried, I can tell you. We have tried. Personally, I have tried. As the chairman of the council, I have tried. The council has tried itself. Mom has tried. So at this point, you feel like, begging once again and telling the fraternity of netball to come to their senses. Because sometimes people don't know they are walking over the cliff. They're on the cliff edge and dancing around. They don't know that they're about to tip and go over. So, and they will only realize when they are already fallen off the cliff. So let them do whatever it takes to get their house in order. But for us, we are going to implement the directive of our minister, and we are going to guide. We are a regulator. We do a number of things. We promote, we do this, but among other things, we are a regulator. So you cannot do things anyhow, and you are not regulated. We are going